Okay, so let's continue talking about our slideshows and the settings that we have. So we'll go over to our pages area and we're going to create a new page where we'll add several slideshows and talk about its settings. So first of all, heading over to the templates area, I am going to stick with homepage type A simply because it already has a slideshow added to it and there's nothing else under that. So click on apply template, I'll then confirm, and we have the slideshow. What I'm going to do next is add a block of content, so I'll just stick with, here we have text into columns. I'll stick with that, and then I'm going to add another slideshow to this same page. So once again, click on add block, scroll down about roughly about 2/3 of the way, or you can scroll down to the very bottom and then just move up slightly, and you have main slideshow here. So you add that to your page. And essentially, yeah, you can then just repeat the process and add a third, fourth, fifth slideshow if that's required. So let me just add one more separation block and then we'll add one more slide just so we can take a look at all three different slideshows at the same time, and once again just go through their settings as well. Okay, so there we go, we have all three slideshows added. Next off, what you're going to have to do is unfold the slideshow settings, and here we have three different layouts to choose from. There's type A, B, and C. Type C is used only for being placed in the header or at the very top of the page. It is not recommended to have the slideshow in the middle or at the bottom of your page simply because the menu will be over the slideshow, and then you'll also have the menu at the top. So I'll show you what that looks like because it kind of sounds a little bit confusing, but I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. So for our top slideshow, we will stick with type A. Next off, what we're going to do is merge this with our header, or actually we're going to disable this option just so you can see the difference. If you have this option enabled, this is what you're going to have. You're going to have the slideshow in the header all together, and the header will have a transparent background. If you have that option disabled, the header will have a white background and it will be separate from the slideshow. Okay, so this is what we've enabled right now, is have it separate from the slideshow. Scrolling further down in the following area, you need to select the slideshow that you want to use for that particular section. So for our main slideshow at the top, we will use new slide. Scrolling down, we'll then skip text columns. We have some dummy content here. For our next slideshow, we will select a layout type B, and we'll then also select the new slide that we've created. We'll also use a full screen for all three at the moment. And finally, slideshow type C. This is the one that needs to be placed at the top only, but I'll have it at the bottom at this point. Okay, and once again, we'll use a new slide for this one. Alright, now as you can see, slideshow type C has a number of additional settings whereby you can select the navigation style, whether it's going to be arrows or dots. The other slideshows, as you can see here, do not have this option. It goes directly from your full screen or boxed view directly to making the font adjustments. Okay, so yeah, this has just an extra bit of settings. Now for our slideshows, we also have a section that's called quick links. Quick links is this little button over here where you click on it and some additional content slides out and you can direct users to whatever page is required from there. Okay, you'll also notice that slideshow type C has the option to add another menu to be shown over the actual slideshow. So what we're going to do is enable this option, and here you can choose the menus. Now in most cases, if we take a look at the preview, here we have 4 tabs, and that is probably the ideal and recommended option. You can probably add 5, but depending on how long your words are within the navigation. So for this section, you can select a different type of menu. So I'm going to select my centered menu. Okay, and then you can adjust the menu items gap. So basically adjust the spacing between your menu items. Alright, so that was a lot of info. Let's go ahead and publish our page and just kind of see what we end up with, and then we'll make additional tweaks and adjustments from there on. Okay, so we'll open up our page in a new tab. And here we have our first slideshow. It is separate from our header. As we scroll down, we have our text area. So this is slideshow type A, and you can see that our slideshow images, or the slideshow image titles, are located on the right side. For slideshow type B, it looks pretty much the same as slideshow type A. There's really not much difference, and we have the image titles at the bottom. So the only purpose of having these two different slideshows is if you actually utilize your image titles. If not, if it's just a slideshow without any titles, then it really doesn't matter which slideshow you end up with. If it's just going to be a slideshow with images. Otherwise, if you're going to have some type of content or text over the images, you can then choose whether it's going to be right aligned or if it's going to be at the center and at the bottom of your slideshow. And finally, for our third slideshow, this is what I was talking about. You can see that we have essentially our image title here, then we have our arrows, but here we have another menu. So basically, if you look at the top here, you can see that we have a menu at the very top and a menu over our slideshow. So this is why it's best to have this slideshow only at the very top. That way it will not be duplicated with the following menu. Okay, so let me just go ahead and do that for us real quick so you guys can see the difference. So let me just push this all the way to the top and take slideshow type A and drag it all the way to the bottom. Okay, then unfold the following settings, make sure that this is merged with our header, and then click on update, and we'll then refresh the following page. Okay, so there we go. You can see that we have a slideshow type C. We no longer have our header visible. We have a different type of menu for this section. However, if we let's say head on over to blog B, you'll see that our menu or our header here remains the same as it would be. So only in the case if you want to have this specific layout for your navigation and you want to have a few items, that's when the following slideshow type C would be used. Okay, and as you can see, for quick links, it's moved over to the top left corner versus bottom right corner. Alright, so that's the main differences and I guess the main visual differences between the different slideshows. Now obviously we have the same settings for all of our boxed layouts. So what I'm going to do is just select boxed layouts for all three slideshows and then see what that looks like on the front end. Okay, so this is the boxed layout that we have. Once again, the overall concept is the same for type C. We have a smaller slideshow here. We have our quick links and our menu. As we scroll down, we then have our second section with this is type B, and once again we have our slide titles at the bottom, and then for slideshow type A we have our slide titles on the right hand side. So in a sense, what you can do if let's say you're using the default page template and you want to create a unique custom about us page or info page, whatever it may be, you can actually adjust the content, add multiple different slideshows to that same page, but just have different content. So it is a very convenient tool to have. It's just a matter of knowing how you want to situate your content. Okay, so other than that, this is it in terms of where and how you can apply your slideshows. Once again, in terms of all of the slideshow settings, they're all located here. There's really not much to it. You simply adjust the elements color if that's required, select your navigation style, and then make some basic adjustments in terms of text. The only, I guess, more difficult slideshow is type C. It has a little bit more options whereby you can adjust the items, the menu items gap, the menu color, and stuff like that. So Otherwise, everything remains the same. One thing also to keep in mind if you're building out a page or you're adding slideshows in between different content, like you have a text block, then you have a slideshow, and then another text block. Occasionally, depending on the settings of certain blocks, the slideshow may be pushed too close um, to the block at the top. So what you're going to have to do is utilize the slideshow margins. So let me show you what that would look like in our case. So you can either increase the margins for your text content or for your slideshow. Let's stick with a slideshow. You go over to the margins area and you adjust margins for desktops. So you push that to, I don't know, make it 50 pixels. I'm just going to use 100 because it's a little bit more visible, and then do the exact same thing for mobile devices. You then click on update, and if we go back to our page, we'll refresh this. Okay, here you can see that the margin for the bottom and the top of our slideshow has increased. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind whenever working with the following slideshows. So this is it for the settings that we have, and I hope this video helps. Sorry for it being a little bit too long, but kind of had to cover all of the details in this video. So thanks again for watching, and I hope everything makes sense, and I'll see you guys around later.